Welcome back, stock market traders. Today we had a big sell off. Today is Tuesday, January 18, 2022. Let's look at the charts. Let's start with the S&P 500. This is the daily chart. Gapped lower and sold off, and it's now sitting on the 100-day moving average. Will it hold? I don't know. It seems like every single time we see it here, had a big bounce. We saw it here, another big bounce. Saw it over here, big bounce. But today, I didn't see that. So what does that mean? Is it gonna hold? Very tricky. Maybe we have something similar to another scenario all the way back here when it closed near the 100-day moving average, consolidated for one day, and then it pushed lower, which is very likely. Could be a very likely scenario. If we dip lower, if we open lower, it can quickly sell off, and I see some support around 40, the previous all-time high, 45, 45. If not, the next support level will be all the way down here, between like right below 4,500, which was a low here. Looking at the chart, even though it looks like it's in an uptrend, but it's getting very choppy, and it seems like each bounce is getting smaller. That one versus a big bounce here versus another big bounce here. And now this one didn't even quite made it over all these moving averages. So for tomorrow, if we open a little bit higher and it can hold this level around 4570 and pushes about 4600, I will be looking for an entry point. However, I'll be very conservative and my position size will be smaller because there's lots of resistance up here. We got all these moving averages. So the path of least resistance is south, and we'll see which way it goes tomorrow. But it's at a very important critical level, sitting on the 100-day moving average. Let's now take a look at the Nasdaq 100. Today, after the previous session, it really had a chance if it could just gap up a little and push higher and start pushing above all these moving averages. That would have been nice, but it didn't. Open lowered and just sold off. Now is below all these moving averages. This previous pivot point, which has been very important for the last few weeks, and now that it's like really in the middle of that and the 200-day moving average, so I don't really see like any reason for me to buy or short, especially after this move down. I think the best case scenario for me to buy will be if it gaps lower and finds support around the 15,000, which will coincide with that 200-day moving average. If that happens, I will be looking for an entry point if that level holds. Like I said up here, I don't really see anything. There's lots of resistance and not much support until down here, the 200-day moving average. Trading has become very choppy. When we were playing that range, I remember, these bounces up here, they were tradable for at least a few days. Got another one here. And then this last one didn't last until, 3 days. And this one here, it didn't even make it above all these moving averages versus the previous ones. At least they were able to push higher above all these moving averages. Now it seems like every single bounce is just getting smaller and it's becoming more difficult to trade if you're a swing trader. So for tomorrow, I'll be watching this level very closely, the 15,000. Small support here. I doubt it's going to hold, which was a previous low from last week. If it doesn't hold, like I said, I expect this to be very strong support, especially that it hasn't tagged or visit the 200-day moving average in months. So I expect a big bounce there. Now take a look at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones was very strong. It was one of the strongest indices, and after today, a visit down to the 100-day moving average, same as the S&P 500, below all these moving averages. So the path of least resistance for this index will be south. A trip or a visit to the 200-day moving average would be expected. In fact, if that happens, I will be looking for an entry point. I haven't traded this one in a while. 2 down, 3 down days, and then if tomorrow that happens, I would expect at least a pause or a bounce of that level. So I'll be watching that very closely. For support, if we opened kind of flattish tomorrow, will be today's low and that 100-day moving average. For resistance, will be lots of resistance overhead. I don't know how it's gonna get above all these levels. So, but definitely the 200-day moving average will be heavy support. I'll take a look at the semiconductors. This one, I thought it could really get going. Previous day, it pushed above all these moving averages and closed right at that 3,900 level. And the 20-day moving average, all it had to do is just, move a little bit higher, open higher, and could quickly make new all-time highs. But, it dipped below, it opened below these moving averages and just sold off like the rest of the indices. But it's still in this range, this big range. It's really in the middle of like really nowhere. It's between that big strong support and heavy resistance, all these moving averages. So I would expect some support around this area again. If not, definitely the 100-day moving average should be acting as strong support if it visits that level tomorrow. It is still an uptrend, but it's very choppy. This long range. It's been in this range for the last couple of months. Let's now take a look at the Russell 2000 ETF, IWM, and this one they just got worse. It was in this trading range for the longest time, and now it dipped below it and actually closed below it, which hasn't happened before. The previous times you'll get a little spike, pushed lowered, quick push higher. You saw it here, you saw it here, many times before, but today you just couldn't do that and it closed under that level. So for tomorrow, if it cannot quickly recover and push back above, say, 210, then this one can get very ugly. I mean, it's been an ugly chart for the last, few months. It's been just very choppy here. It tried to push higher, break out. It failed. And since then, it's just been very choppy in this range. At least you were, if you wanted to trade it, you could just use these levels to trade against. But after today, I think this, it doesn't look good. I mean, for this one, for me, it has been very difficult to to find an entry point. Last time I traded was actually this breakout here, and since then I've been looking for an entry point, but I just haven't been able to find one. And after today, I doubt I'm gonna find one anytime soon. But hey, we'll take it session by session. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow we'll reverse higher, and it might end up being the strongest bully indices. But we'll play it session by session. Good luck trading tomorrow, guys, and thank you for watching.